Alright, so our joke for this frame is, why did the gum cross the road? Why did the gum cross the road? Well, you think I'm just going to draw a quick road, make it a little bit festive, a little artsy. Why would a gum want to cross a road? Here's my gum guy. See how it looks. Give him a little bit of a smiley face. There you go. Alright, so why did the gum cross the road? It was stuck. Ready? It was stuck to the chicken's foot. Hilarious. It was stuck to the chicken's foot. Alright, here's our frame. We're going to start in that key topic spot, so please move there. Our key topic for this frame is multiplying and dividing integers. Alright, so multiplying and dividing integers. I'll give you some time to write that while I write it. Multiplying and dividing integers is about using the properties of multiplication and division with positive and negative numbers. Alright, so multiplying and dividing integers is about using the properties of multiplication and division with positive and negative numbers. Okay, so let's go back to our first part of the frame, first part of examples. Okay, multiplication. So the first thing that we're going to deal with is multiplication. Sorry about the messy handwriting here. Hopefully it'll get better. Alright, first thing we're going to do is when we do a positive times a positive, and I'm using that dot for multiplication. I'm going to try rewriting that because it was gross. Positive times a positive. Alright, and our first example is going to be 3 times 4. This we have done always, but we're going to use those properties of multiplication. So 3 times 4 means that you're adding 3 to itself 4 times. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 12. Or it can be 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is also 12. Okay, so 3 times 4 means 3 plus itself 4 times, or 4 plus itself 3 times. Alright, so then went back up there. And positive times a positive equals a positive. Alright. Then our next one that we're going to do is a positive times a negative. That should be a positive sign up. Oh, there you go. Positive times a negative equals, let's find out. If we do negative 5 times 3, that's doing negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5. And we know negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10. And then that negative 10 plus negative 5 is going to be negative 15. So the answer is negative 15. So positive times a negative is negative. I think I screwed that up. That was supposed to be a negative times a positive. But let's just go back to the other example. Sorry. My bad. We'll get there. Our next example is going to be 4. Figuring this out here. I screwed up the examples. Sorry. But you'll get the same idea. 4 times negative 12. Okay, so that's still saying negative 12 and adding it to itself. 4 times, because multiplication is repeated addition. Alright, so if we do negative 12 plus negative 12 plus negative 12 plus negative 12, we add that together. We know negative 12 plus negative 12 should be negative 24. Again, with negative 24, we add negative 24 plus negative 24, and we get negative 48. Alright. Another way we could have done that is just 4 times 12. So I'm going to do that in the corner. My 8 looks kind of like a brain. Whoops. So if we just did 12 times 4 like how we normally would, by doing 4 times 2 is 8, then 4 times 1 is 4, then we would know positive times a negative is a negative, so we would have gotten a negative 48. Alright, our last part that we have to do is a negative times a negative, which my negative sign didn't show up there. Negative 36 times negative 5. Oh, there it popped up. A negative times a negative. So we have negative 36 times negative 5. So we're going to just multiply this like how we normally would. 36 times 5. So 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, 18. So you get 180. Alright, so when we have a negative times a negative, we're going to end up with a positive because we're taking two opposites. So the opposite of 180 would be negative 180, but we have another negative sign in there, so we're taking another opposite of it, so it just is positive 180. Okay, so a negative times a negative ends up being a positive. And I accidentally wrote a negative in there. There we go, starting over. So we get a positive 180. Alright, so negative times a negative is a positive. Alright, going on to division, we're going to go to the second part of your frame. And this part of your frame is going to be division. So you can write that in the title. If I can write it. Missing my dots on my eyes, so sorry. Division. Alright, so if we do a positive divided by a positive. Sorry, my dividing signs aren't very good. So for example, if we did 20 divided by 4, this is the normal division that you've been doing since forever. Okay, so 20 divided by 4. What this really means, remember that dividing is like the backwards multiplication. 4 times what equals 20? Okay, so we do 4 times what number? Getting there. That should be a times sign, sorry. 4 times what number equals 20? Well, we know 4 times 5 equals 20. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. A positive divided by a positive is equal to a positive. Alright, so what happens if we do a positive divided by a negative? Okay, so if we do 36 divided by negative 9, what we're actually looking at here is negative 9 times what number equals 36. Okay, and so here we want to use our knowledge of multiplication. A negative times what equals a positive. So look back over at your multiplication. A negative times what is a positive? Well, it's a negative times a negative. So negative 9 times negative 4. Okay, a negative times a negative equals a positive. So negative 4. Because 9 times 4 is usually 36. So negative 9 times negative 4 is 36. So a positive divided by a negative, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Alright, let's try it when we have a negative coming first. So a negative divided by a positive. So if you have negative 40 divided by a positive 10 equals what? So we're going to use our reverse multiplication. 10 times what number equals negative 40? We're going to go back to that multiplication process of thinking a positive times what kind of number equals a negative? We'll take a second and look. A positive times what kind of number is equal to a negative? Okay, a positive times a negative is equal to a negative. So we know that the number going in the blank is going to be a negative, but then 10 times what is 40? Well, 10 times 4. So it's a negative 4. Okay, so 10 times negative 4 is negative 40. So negative 40 divided by 10 is negative 4. So a negative divided by a positive is equal to a negative. Alright, last example. We have a negative divided by a negative. So for example, we have negative 128 divided by negative 8. Okay, we have to know negative 8 times what number equals negative 128. Well, first we have to know what number. 8 times what is 128? I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to use my long division. 8 goes into 12 one time. We subtract 8. We get a 4. Bring down the 8. 8 goes into 48 6 times. So now we know that 8 times 16 is 128. We just have to figure out if it's a positive or a negative. So negative times what is a positive? Or is a negative? A positive, okay? So we get 16. So negative divided by a negative is a positive. Alright, last part is that so what box. In our so what, we have to remember two things, okay? So I'm going to make a big remember and then bullet point the last two things that we need to know. Okay, remember that multiplying or multiplication, so multiplication is repeated addition. Because that lets us know if our answer is really positive or negative, if we can repeat that addition, okay? Multiplication is repeated addition. Also remember that division is multiplication backwards. So if you know your multiplying rules, you should definitely know your dividing rules because it's just backwards, okay? So that's the big deal there, is if you know your multiplying rules, you can definitely and totally do your dividing rules. Thank you. Have a good day.